Lesson 29. As. Not as. Not so, as. Thames. America. Is the table as high as the door?
No, the table isn't as high as the door, it's lower than the door.
Is this building as high as Mount Everest?
No, this building isn't as high as Mount Everest, it's lower than Mount Everest.
Is the River Thames as long as the Nile?
No, the River Thames isn't as long as the Nile, it's shorter than the Nile.
Is Spain as large as South America?
No, Spain isn't as large as South America, it's smaller than South America.
Season. Spring. Summer. Autumn. Winter. Tell me the names of the 4 seasons of the year, please.
The names of the 4 seasons of the year are spring, summer, autumn and winter.
What season are we in now?
We're in winter now.
What was last season?
Last season was autumn.
What will next season be?
Next season will be spring.
Proceed. Follow. Which day precedes Wednesday?
Tuesday precedes Wednesday.
Does Thursday precede Wednesday?
No, Thursday doesn't precede Wednesday, it follows it.
Which number follows the number 13?
14 follows the number 13.
Do the students precede the teacher out of the classroom after the lesson?
No, the students don't precede the teacher out of the classroom after the lesson, they follow him.
Does the teacher precede the students into the classroom before the lesson?
No, the teacher doesn't precede the students into the classroom before the lesson, he follows them.
When? When do you have your breakfast?
I have my breakfast at 8 o'clock in the morning.
When does the lesson begin?
The lesson begins at 2:30.
When do you get up in the morning?
I get up at 7 o'clock in the morning.
While. Whilst. What other words can we use instead of whereas?
We can use while and whilst instead of whereas.
Which word do we use the most when we speak?
We generally use whereas the most when we speak.
Old. New. Is this an old building we're in at the moment?
Yes, this is an old building we're in at the moment.
Are your shoes new?
No, my shoes aren't new, they're old.
Older than. Newer than. Is your blouse older than your shoes?
No, my blouse isn't older than my shoes, it's newer than my shoes.
The oldest. The newest. What's the newest thing you're wearing?
My hat is the newest thing I'm wearing.
Old. Young. What's the difference between new and young?
The difference between new and young is that we use new for things, whereas we use young for people.
Is Miss Brown an old woman?
No, Miss Brown isn't an old woman, she's a young girl.
Younger than. Are you older than your mother?
No, I'm not older than my mother, I'm younger than my mother.
The youngest. Who's the youngest in your family?
My brother is the youngest in my family.
Put on. Take off. Go out. What am I doing?
You're putting your hand on the table.
What am I doing?
You're taking your hand off the table.
What am I doing?
You're putting your hat on.
What am I doing?
You're taking your hat off.
What do we put on when we go out in winter?
We put our hats and coats on when we go out in winter.
What do we take off when we come into a building?
We take our hats and coats off when we come into a building.